The Uyghur Reality and China's Influence on Turkish Media. Mehmet Emin Hazret. Uyghur Diaspora and the Silencing of Voices. Turkey hosts one of the largest Uyghur diasporas in the world. Thousands of Uyghur refugees and families live in cities such as Istanbul, Kayseri, and Ankara. However, despite this strong demographic presence, the issue of East Turkestan has failed to create a significant impact on Turkish public opinion, and the voice of the Uyghur people has not reached the broader society. This has enabled China to carry out its genocide policies in East Turkestan with greater ease and impunity. In the 21st century, while committing systematic genocide against Uyghur and other indigenous Muslim populations in East Turkestan, China has also launched comprehensive diplomatic efforts to silence the international community. The mass arrests and physical and psychological tortures within concentration camps, which began in September 2016, continue silently to this day. Simultaneously, starting in 2016, China initiated a major project to transform East Turkestan into its largest energy hub. Today, East Turkestan has become one of the world's largest energy centers, producing oil, natural gas, solar, and wind energy. According to Chinese official sources, energy transferred from East Turkestan meets 34% of China's total energy needs. China attempts to mask the ongoing genocide in East Turkestan under the guise of economic development, and in doing so, has found willing collaborators within the global media landscape. This report will specifically focus on China's influence over Turkish media. Manipulation of Uyghur-related content in Turkish media. Since 2017, certain Turkish TV channels have continued to broadcast Xinjiang documentaries, while some newspapers have consistently promoted Xinjiang development stories. For example, cultural performances. Uyghur-themed dance and music shows often performed by Han Chinese artists instead of real Uyghur performers, utilizing state-sponsored groups to portray a controlled cultural image. Mosques and religious practices. Footage of Uyghurs praying in mosques is often showcased. However, most of this footage dates back to before 2016, ignoring the severe religious oppression imposed in recent years. Emphasis on economic development. China's economic projects in East Turkestan are heavily promoted, serving to overshadow ongoing human rights violations. These realities demonstrate that Uyghur-themed content published in Turkish media overwhelmingly reflects China's official propaganda, while concealing the true situation. Tangible advantages China provides to Turkish media. Financial support and advertising agreements. In recent years, China has provided direct or indirect financial support to Turkish media outlets. For instance, the Chinese embassy and companies such as Huawei and BYD have published full-page advertisements in major Turkish newspapers. In 2021, a prominent conservative Turkish newspaper published a special advertorial commemorating the 100th anniversary of the Chinese Communist Party. Additionally, advertorial articles praising China's economic successes continue to appear in leading Turkish newspapers. Content and program partnerships. China's official news agencies, such as Xinhua and CGTN, provide free content to Turkish media. Thus, Turkish channels can broadcast Chinese narratives at low or zero cost. Journalist invitations and media tours. China invites Turkish journalists and media executives to attend controlled tours and soft diplomacy programs. Notably, tours to selected areas in East Turkestan, Xinjiang, and participation in forums like the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Media Forum have been used to foster favorable reporting. Free content services. Chinese origin articles, interviews, and success stories offered to Turkish news outlets free of charge, often published without disclosing their original sources. Long-term media investments. Platforms such as CRI Turk and CGTN Turk have been established to broadcast pro-China narratives directly to Turkish audiences. Effects of China's advantages on Turkish media. Change in news language. Shift from East Turkestan to Xinjiang. In the past, the term East Turkestan was commonly used in Turkish media. However, in recent years, the usage of Xinjiang has become increasingly dominant. Through this change in terminology, The perception is subtly shaped to view the region not as an independent cultural Turkic homeland, but as an ordinary province of China. In particular, 3 prominent media outlets, 1 right-wing, 2 left-wing, have almost completely adopted the use of Xinjiang in their reporting over the last 2 years. Impact: conceptual manipulation. Historical identity and uniqueness are diluted. China's narrative is normalized. Changes in news structure. Praise instead of criticism. Severe human rights abuses such as forced labor, internment camps, and cultural erasure of Uyghurs receive very limited coverage in mainstream Turkish media. Instead, pro-China content highlights themes such as economic development, women's education, and success in counter-terrorism. The severe oppression in East Turkestan is completely ignored, while only themes like progress, peace, and multicultural harmony are presented. Impact: suppression of critical perspectives, dominance of a one-sided narrative. Visual manipulation, use of outdated mosque and dance images. Footage showing Uyghurs praying in mosques predominantly dates back to before 2016. According to UN reports, over 8,000 mosques were demolished in East Turkestan after 2017. When showcasing Uyghur dances, real Uyghur performers are replaced with state-sponsored Han Chinese or approved minority performers. This creates a false perception for the audience that religious and cultural freedoms are thriving. Impact: visual softening and manipulation, deliberate creation of a perception gap between reality and presented imagery. Increase in China-sourced content. There has been a notable rise in news articles sourced directly from Xinhua in Turkish media. For example, articles with headlines like "Agricultural productivity in Xinjiang increases by 20% frequently appear." Similarly, content from CGTN Turk and CRI Turk is often disseminated indirectly through Turkish news agencies. Impact: unquestioned acceptance and integration of China's success narratives into Turkish media discourse. Justifying China through anti-Western sentiment. A recurring theme in Turkish media suggests that the West is jealous of China's rise. The Uyghur issue is merely a Western ploy to hinder China's development. This narrative is especially prevalent among leftist, nationalist, and anti-imperialist media outlets. As a result, China's human rights abuses are obscured under the narrative of a Western conspiracy. Impact: genuine human rights violations are sacrificed to political propaganda. Public outrage is neutralized. Case analyses. Case 1. A TV channel, Modern Day China Series, 2024 to 2025. Content: short daily documentaries showcased scenes from different regions of China, including East Turkestan, featuring women farming, children playing in parks, and folkloric dance performances. Manipulation analysis. At first glance, portrayals of ethnic communities living peacefully and prosperously. In reality, the individuals featured are mostly Han Chinese or carefully selected model minorities. The real Uyghur population, their suffering, and religious life are completely hidden. Conclusion: the repressive regime in East Turkestan is masked with happy mosaic imagery. Case 2. The Uyghur Card documentary, July 2024. Content: portrays the Uyghur issue as a political tool used by the US and the West against China. Defends re-education centers as a measure against radicalization. Manipulation analysis. At first glance, critique of Western double standards. In reality, China's official stance is replicated. Abuses such as torture, forced labor, and family separations are ignored. Conclusion: international human rights reports are disregarded, favoring China's perspective. Case 3. Cultural Festival in Xinjiang, September 2024. Content: describes a festival in East Turkestan where different ethnic groups celebrate together in peace. Manipulation analysis. At first glance, an atmosphere of cultural festivity. In reality, state-organized events serve as window dressing while the genuine oppression of the Uyghur people is concealed. Conclusion: authentic struggles are reduced to folkloric performances. Case 4. A right-wing newspaper, Chinese ambassador's article, January 2025. Content: A full-page article by the Chinese ambassador praising China's Xinjiang policies was published. Manipulation analysis. At first glance, presentation of China's perspective. In reality, human rights violations are completely omitted, economic development and modernization narratives are amplified. Conclusion: one-sided propaganda is legitimized under the guise of an opinion piece. Why both government-aligned and opposition media in Turkey are united on China. Turkey's growing economic dependence on China. In recent years, Turkey has experienced serious economic challenges. Foreign debt accumulation, currency crises, investment declines, political tensions with the United States and the European Union. Amidst these issues, China has emerged as a major alternative to provide financial support. Currency swap agreements, infrastructure and energy investments, logistics projects, such as the Belt and Road Initiative. As a result, both the ruling government and opposition parties avoid criticizing China. Maintaining good relations with China is seen as a strategic and economic lifeline for Turkey. Summary: economic necessity hinders independent action. Fear of damaging relations with China prevails.